Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, this is going to be a pretty short video today. I've got the Fimi X8 Mini and I have just a partial battery, not a full battery. I got back from vacation and I took this with me when we were gone over to the Washington coast and had a couple of issues with it. The first time I tried to fly it over the coast, at the coast, it wouldn't even let me take off. It wouldn't even go into ADI mode. It just said cannot take off. Even though I had 18 satellites at one point, you got the red band at the top. You could not arm the motors, couldn't take off. A couple days later, I had a successful flight with it. Did some testing of what Fimi calls one-tap videos or quick shots, or as they call it, about 3 different names. Anyway, that flight was fairly successful. It just had a couple little issues, nothing terribly big. And then later, I flew it again in a day when we had some fairly high winds. It had some issues. The gimbal just wouldn't stay flat. It was really flopping around at some pretty odd angles. And then also, when I was bringing it back, I lost connection completely again. You saw me go through the nightmare of that with my second Fimi Mini. So I just want to fly it around here and just check it out and see if any of those issues remain. Those last problems, I kind of blamed it on it was a particularly windy day. And I put the drone into sport mode at one point, and that's when I started having all the issues with the gimbal. So I don't know, I just want to fly it around and just see how it does here. So I'm over at the school next to my house, and this is just going to be a quick test flight, and hopefully we won't have any connection issues, and hopefully the gimbal will operate normally. So that's what we're doing today. Let's get this bird in the air. Okay, we're connected. The drone is not asking for any kind of calibrations, so I'm going to go ahead and start recording. We're in 4K 30. We can take a quick look at the menu here. Yeah, and it doesn't look like we have a lot of magnetic interference, so we should be fine. 30-meter return to home, that's going to be okay for where we're at here. Let's just go ahead and take off. We got about 73% battery, so like I said, this is going to just be a short fly around to see how this guy does. Let's do a takeoff on the app. And it looks like the drone is so the drone typically goes up to about 4.5 or 5 meters, and it did so just there. It's kind of wandering around just a little bit. I've seen that before. That seems to be a common thing on takeoff, and then it kind of settles down. Let's bring it in here. You can see just a little bit of movement there. Like I said, I've seen that a number of times in the past with this drone. So there's our gimbal working, and it appears to be working like it should. So that's a good thing. Let's bring it in here and let's do a quick let's do a droney. So again, we're in normal mode. Reverse and up now. Reverse and up. And this is a sporty little drone, let me tell you. And you can see a little gimbal movement there when I let off the throttle. Dropping the gimbal down just a little. Let's get more to that rule of thirds, and it seems to be doing okay. Okay, I'm going to reverse it some more. And then off the throttle now. And now let's go full forward. Again, this is in normal mode. Looking pretty good so far. And I'm turning around to stay pointed at the drone. I'm getting a little bit of stuttering on FPV. not terrible. I'm not going to go over the street. Let's go out here to the corner of the lot here. And as I yaw, I see, you know, with the grid lines on the FPV view, I see a little bit of a tilt, but that's typical, and it tends to straighten out. Although it's kind of hanging in there. Let's yaw around some more here, and it's kind of straightening out now. And that's typical. I've seen that many times, although it's not terrible. Full forward again here. Let's get up about 30 meters high. And I'm staying pointed at the drone, and you know, we've got a good connection, so again, just a little bit of a stutter on FPV. We're going to go over the top of the school here like we've done in the past. And again, you're going to see a little bit of a, it was just a hint of a tilted horizon there for a second. Okay, looks good there. You can see the evidence of the smoke that we have in the area here. Yaw it around some more. And we'll bring it back to us. Let's drop it down here, and let's do our usual, see if we can get a little bit of an orbit here around the cell tower. See if I can get that centered up. And here we go. Yeah, so you know, the horizon looks pretty good here. You know, we had that little initial flat horizon. We're yawing pretty good here, and the horizon is looking good, so that's a good sign. Let's go the other way and see what happens. See if I can get that. It's always a little bit of a adjustment here, trying to adjust your yaw and your bank to get that orbit. And whoop, there we go. I messed that up, didn't I? What I did was I was trying to reverse at the same time. I was getting kind of close to the head of the tower there, so I was trying to reverse back a little bit. Whoops, I accidentally stopped recording. Let's start recording again. And let's try that again. It's particularly when you're doing these kind of maneuvers, it's pretty easy to get some cross coupling in. But there we go, and the horizon's looking good. I got no complaints on this flight. Okay, let's grab a little altitude. You know, like I said, I was worried after that flight that I had in over at the coast, because boy, I'll tell you what, the gimbal just went nuts on me. And again, when I lost that connection, I was a little concerned as well. So what we're going to do, and I see as I'm flying out this way, I am getting a little tad of a crooked horizon again, but nothing, you know, not horrible. But it's just worth mentioning. Okay, we're going to turn it around, and then we'll try a sport mode run here, and we should see the gimbal tilt a little bit, which is perfectly normal. But what I'm trying to do here is, that's what I did and started having issues with the gimbal last time after I had put it in sport mode. So there we're in sport mode, and it gives us that warning telling us that we could see gimbal movement, etc. And so I'm fully expecting that. So we're going to go full stick forward now. And we should see that gimbal drop a little bit, and we did. But that is no different than what you would see on like a DJI Mini. And that was pretty much just one drop. So that's perfect. That's what you'd expect. Now let's let off the throttle now. And yeah, so it stayed right where it was at. So that's perfectly normal behavior. Let's go back out over the school. Full stick forward. Yeah, and you saw a little bump in the gimbal. And it dropped just a little bit, not as much. Off the throttle now. Yeah, and you saw some movement there. So here's what I'm going to tell you. In sport mode with this gimbal, you're going to have to be really careful about if your expectation is to get cinematic video, you're probably not. So but normal mode, you know, as you saw, it was just fine. I didn't see any problems, at least from what I could see on FPV. Okay, we're still in sport mode. Let's take another run here. Full stick forward now. And you saw I'd pick the gimbal back up, and there it's dropping down. And that, you know, that's the kind of move I don't mind. That's very predictable. It just dropped down a few degrees there. That's just exactly what you would find. Well, there it moved again. And it's moving right along at about 15 meters per second. Okay. Well, I think we've shown that. So, and we do get a little bit of a hint of a tilted horizon, although it's not terrible. Okay, we're taking it out of sport mode. We're back in normal mode. Let me pick that gimbal up, and wow, look at that. So yeah, look at how much that, yeah, look at that. That was after we were in sport mode, and we're back in normal mode there. Yeah, that's no good. Yeah, holy cow. Well, what I'm going to tell you is, once you put this guy in sport mode, there goes your gimbal. Oh, Fimi, you didn't let me down. So that's, you know, obviously that's ridiculous. Let's see if it settles down here a little bit. We're getting down where it's about time to return to home. Yeah, as I let off the throttle, yeah, the gimbal is just not even working now. As I tilt down, and then look, it kind of tries to straighten itself out. Then I let off the throttle. Okay, let's take it out here, and we'll do a there it kind of snapped back into place. Yeah, but you can see the gimbal is still kind of freaking out on us. Okay, let's do a return to home on the app. So sliding it right now, and here it comes. And we'll see. I'm afraid to mess with the gimbal here at all. You can see it kind of wobbling around there. Yeah, well, I guess what I'll know is not to take it out of sport, or put it into sport mode, because when you do, you lose control with that gimbal. Let me see if yeah, I have no control of the gimbal with the wheel either. So yeah, anyway, let's just let it come down. I was going to drop the gimbal down so you could see where it was landing. Look at that thing wobble around. Clearly that gimbal is completely disconnected from reality. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be pretty close. It says landing pad detected, so well, like I said, the gimbal seemed to work while we were in normal mode, but one thing this guy does is it hits that precision landing pretty good, and I like the way it shuts off video. Anyway, so there you have it. Yeah, you know, it did pretty good in normal mode. As soon as we put it into sport mode, that gimbal just checked out. So you know, I don't know if other people are having that issue or not, but it clearly happened for me. And when I was over at the coast, I thought, well, it was a pretty windy day. Could the wind have been blowing that gimbal around? Well, no, it's pretty clear that there's more to it than that. I did a calibration before gimbal calibration, and so yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say, but the results speak for themselves. I guess that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford. I'm going to turn the camera around so I get my face in the sun here a little bit. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I really appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And yes, of course, we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.